Hey guys, Jim Stoppani coming to you from beautiful Maui. It's, let's see, 4 p.m. here, Hawaii time, and that's 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and sorry, no, not 3 p.m., 10 p.m. on the East Coast. So I want to thank those of you who are able to make it here for this hangout. I took some time out my day here to spend an hour getting to your questions. Hopefully you've been sending me questions as well on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, even now on my Snapchat, as well as I'm very active throughout the day on all those platforms, especially Twitter. I just try to stay heavily active on Twitter particularly, as it's an easy form for me to get to your questions pretty readily throughout the day. So, but I also like doing these Google Hangouts so you can kind of get a little more feedback from me, because I can go on into a little more explanation on a lot of the questions and the common questions that I get, and I try to go through and pick out the ones that seem to be interest for everyone. So let's me scroll through the questions, as there's always a lot, and I typically don't have too much time in the day to actually go through them. So let's start here. This is from Brandon Denner, and he asks, why do most people say to cut dairy towards the end of a cut? So to elaborate a little more on this question, a lot of people will tell you that if you're getting ready for a physique contest, whether it's bodybuilding or men's physique or women's figure or fitness, that you should cut out your dairy as you get close to the contest. And why is that? Does it hold any validity? The answer is no, it really doesn't hold any validity. I keep dairy in my programs, my personal diet, right up through the day of a photo shoot. In fact, I'm often eating Greek yogurt or skyr. For those of you who don't know what skyr is, it's S-K-Y-R. It's an Icelandic yogurt that's made from grass-fed milk from grass-fed cattle. So not only is it higher in omega-3 fats, it's also higher in CLA and vitamin E, superior form of dairy, and just like it's very similar to Greek yogurt. I mix my protein with it. But anyway, I'll eat that right up the day of a photo shoot. So, but why do some people recommend that? Well, over the years, with bodybuilding, long before there were scientists like myself that were studying this stuff in the lab, the real science was what was occurring in the actual gym. Just over decades of seeing the same things happening, there is sort of a reality of what's going on. And so some people found that for whatever reason, dairy was an issue with them. It stopped their ability to lose fat, or it actually caused them to hold a bit of fluid, if you will. Now, is there any real validity to that or truth to that? Not really. For most people don't have an issue with dairy. However, if you do have a milk allergy, then you could have a sort of a allergic reaction to when you consume dairy, and oftentimes that's inflammation. You get an inflammatory response that could actually cause you to hold some fluid from the inflammation process. So for most people, no, they don't need to cut dairy, but for those who are sensitive to dairy or actually are allergic to dairy, then there could be an issue with consuming dairy products. So that's kind of why that sort of information is out there. From my standpoint, most people do not have issues with dairy, but if you want to be just safe, rather safe than sorry, then you could cut dairy out of your diet. It's just hard to get adequate amounts of protein in your diet when you're cutting out dairy. So again, see how your body responds. If you think you are sort of retaining more fluid, then maybe dairy is an issue. Let's see now. Here's Rob Hansen. Rob asks, your thoughts on a low or no carb breakfast? Seems there's a lot of research suggesting it's better for your insulin sensitivity and metabolism. Higher in fats and protein. I followed your minimum of 3 whole eggs for a year. Thanks. So he's sort of talking about, there is some data going as far back as several years ago, data suggesting that what macronutrients you consume as your first meal upon waking is what you're basically going to set your body up to metabolize those macronutrients better throughout the day. So let's say you consumed a higher fat breakfast, then potentially what the research suggests is that your body will be better able to burn fat throughout the day. Now, Rob said there's a lot of research. There's really not a lot of solid research yet on this area. It's an interesting concept. There is definitely some evidence there, but there's also a lot of evidence against it. You know, there's evidence showing that if someone consumes a slow carb, like a low GI carb breakfast, obviously along with protein, that they tend to burn more fat throughout the day. So, you know, it's definitely a dietary strategy that can work, but it may not be because it's better setting up your body to burn fat. It's just that you're consuming fewer calories at breakfast, and so it's, you know, it's basically allowing you to minimize your calorie intake throughout the day, because you, instead of starting with a very big breakfast, like let's say starting with 1,000 calorie breakfast, something big like, you know, eggs and whole eggs, along with, you know, whole wheat toast and fruit, and, you know, maybe some turkey bacon or something. So you've got some fats from the egg yolks. Maybe you used, let's say, Irish butter, which is from grass-fed cattle. Again, much like the skyr, this is going to have more healthy fats, more CLA and more omega-3 essential fatty acids in it. You fried your eggs in the butter, and then you get some fat from the bacon. The turkey bacon minimizes some of the fat, but then you also have carbs like the whole wheat toast. You know, that starts adding up. If you cut out the toast and add just the eggs and the bacon, now you've minimized some calorie intake that you can get later on in the day. So versus having the extra carbs. So whether it's actually causing your body to burn more fat throughout the day or not is debatable. But you can definitely try. I'm all about trying diet strategies that seem to work for you. I prefer, for a mass gaining diet, since you are basically fasting throughout the night, that one of the issues is that when your liver glycogen levels get to, since you're not eating throughout the night, your body is using glucose from your liver. Once your levels of glucose, stored as glycogen, just released as glucose. Once your levels in the liver get down to a certain point, your body actually starts using amino acids as a fuel source to fuel your body throughout the night. And those amino acids come from muscle tissue. So if you're really concerned about muscle building, maximizing muscle mass, then a smart thing to do is to restock your liver glycogen levels in the morning by consuming carbohydrates when you wake up. And you can try to do it as quickly as possible, getting some fast digesting carbs in the morning to do so, or even fruit actually works fairly well in the morning, because fruit is both a slow digesting component of fructose, but it also is a very fast digesting glucose. Most fruits are 50% fructose and 50% glucose. So you get a fast component of, you get a good amount of carbs sent quickly into your bloodstream, goes to the liver, but then you also have a very slow amount from fructose. Now, fructose is only low GI. It's not slow. I should clarify here. is not slow. It's low GI. It's very fast because it's a monosaccharide. It's a sugar, but it has to go to the liver and then get where it gets converted into glycogen and then is glucose. So it's low GI, doesn't raise blood glucose levels. But both that fructose that make glucose goes quickly to your liver when you're consuming fruit, and that can help restock your your liver glycogen levels, which is going to put the halt on using amino acids as a fuel source. So that's one of the reasons why I'm a big believer in getting some carbs in the morning if maximizing muscle mass is your main goal. If fat loss is your main goal, obviously if you want to maximize fat loss but maximize muscle gain, then you probably should be consuming at least a piece of fruit in the morning if you really want to restock liver glycogen levels. Now, you're not going to lose, it doesn't necessarily lose muscle, it's just that it's going to put you in a better anabolic environment quicker in the morning. And, the data that I have on individuals who are adapting to this practice shows that it's actually very effective for muscle building. But like I said, if your real goal is to minimize fat, maximize your fat loss, then you could skip carbs in the morning. Like I said, that might just be a better way for you to minimize the amount of calories you're consuming in the day. If not really, you crave carbs more later in the daytime. Instead of eating carbs in the morning, and then you're also going to eat carbs later in the day because you crave them then, you can cut out your carbs earlier in the day and then just consume them at night. It's just a way of, getting less carbs throughout the day. Like I said, it may not actually help to burn more body fat. There is some evidence, but it's not very strong evidence at this point. So I hope that in a roundabout way, like I go off on these sidetracks, Rob, but I hope that sort of answered my take on that concept of, eating what you want to burn the rest of the day. And, the fact is that there is some evidence, definitely there's some evidence for some good research to suggest that, but there's no real hardcore evidence, and there's no real, I haven't seen any real world data on individuals and athletes who've tried that have lost more body fat by avoiding the carbs in the morning because it helps them burn more fat the rest of the day versus those who wake up and consume a piece of fruit or a bowl of oatmeal in the morning. They still tend to lose the same amount of body fat. So, but again, the choice is yours, and you should try different diet strategies to see what works best for your body and what, your likes and the way you eat and what's comfortable for you. So try different diet strategies is my take home message from that sort of rant, if you will. So I'm shaking my pre-gym because I literally just got, for those of you who are just tuning in now, I'm here in Maui. I was hoping you could see the ocean behind me, but the sun is blazing and at this hour right now on the patio. So I'm sitting out here at the patio, literally just got back from the beach. And after this, I'm going to run to get a workout in. It's only 4 p.m. here, so 5 p.m. I'm headed to the gym, get a workout in before I head out for dinner later tonight. So getting my pre-gym in right now. I'll take a look at some more questions. Here's a question from Brandon Bergerson. Is there somewhere I can download the audio only of the video casts? And the Q&A, it would be nice to listen to it work. I don't think you can with the Google Hangout Q&As, but for those of you who see my video casts on YouTube, those are also recorded as podcasts. So I'll be setting up that on iTunes so you can have that. It should be, it's just with the traveling and whatnot. It's been a little hectic for me. Right after Maui, I get back to LA. I'm off to Germany for the FIBA convention in Germany. So, and I was just at the Arnold earlier in March. So this is sort of the crazy time with all the expos and my travel gets pretty insane. So, but definitely those the podcasts will be available very soon. Within the next week or two should be, hopefully at least. But very, very soon. Definitely this month at some point. Here's one from Jordan. Jordana. Jiminy plans on making some shopping and cooking videos. This would be very helpful. Yeah, I've definitely given some thought to at least cooking a video. Shopping is a little hard to do because it's really regional. And what I have in Los Angeles is going to be different from what's available on the East Coast of the United States. To some degree at least. And then, since a lot of my followers are from all around the world, it's completely different for those who live in the UK, live in India, live in Europe. So possibly might do some shopping, maybe show you some of the products that I tend to use. For those of you who've seen the Kodiak cakes posts that I made on Facebook and Twitter and like other social media, I think that was very positive feedback on that. And then I just mentioned Skyr, S-K-Y-R, which is an Icelandic yogurt, very high in protein, very low in carbs, grass-fed cattle. It comes from dairy cows that are grass-fed, I should say. So you're getting more omega-3s and CLA. So I've been leaning more towards Skyr than Greek yogurt lately to mix my ProGym in. Trying to think of some other tips that I use. I mean, when it comes to beef, I choose grass-fed beef, or at least, at the very least, organic. Same when it comes to dairy, those sorts of things. So maybe I'll do some kind of shopping video, but definitely some cooking videos in the future. I've done a couple already. If you go to my YouTube channel, you can see the one I did on the the spinach and feta scrambled eggs recipe. So you can check that out. I can't remember if I have any other ones, but I'll definitely do more. And for members of my site, I have, a lot of recipes and continue adding recipes to the website. So if you're not a member, you are missing out on a lot of my favorite recipes. And for those who aren't, you just can't afford it. I mean, it is only $14 per month if you just can't afford it. I do post them routinely. So look for that on my Twitter, on my Instagram, on my Facebook as well, and then even on my Snapchat. Sorry, guys, I got a really dry throat. Just trying to look at some more questions here. Here's a question from James Landley on Shred Gym. If I want to use Shred Gym early in the morning as a pick-me-up, is it all right to take 6 capsules instead of the prescribed 4? At 6 capsules, I'd get a dose of caffeine or tyrosine, but I'm not sure if I'd get too much of some of the other ingredients. Thanks. No, you wouldn't get too much, actually. You certainly could. Each 4 capsule serving of Shred Gym provides you 200 milligrams of caffeine. So 6 would just be 300 milligram dose, which is similar to a dose in pre-gym. And you wouldn't be getting too much synephrine, if you're not sensitive to stimulants like caffeine. So definitely, you certainly can't get too much acetyl L-carnitine, and even the green tea, you'll just be getting 750 milligrams, which is a very effective and still healthy dose. And the same with the capsaicin as well, and the tyrosine definitely wouldn't be too much. So as long as you can tolerate it, like I said, it's a 300 milligram dose of caffeine. same as in serving a pre-gym. So no, it would not be too much to take 6 if you want to just get that little extra boost in the morning. Remember, I formulated Shred Gym to not be one of those jittery fat burners that really amps you up. That's really not the point of fat burners. I formulated Shred Gym, the simple fact of maximizing your fat burning throughout the day to maximize fat loss and increase the amount of fat that's released from your fat cells while you're increasing your metabolic rate, so you're releasing more fat from your fat cells while you're increasing your metabolic rate. Now that released fat from your fat cells is used up as a fuel source because your metabolic rate is higher and needs more fuel. There's a brand new, yet another study on synephrine that just came out. It'll be presented at this year's International Society of Sports Nutrition, showing that a dose of synephrine, either by itself or at the same dose in pre-gym, or along with caffeine, even better, increases the amount of fat that's released from fat cells. So we know that synephrine is, in the type of synephrine I have in it, the Advantage Z, this is specifically this type, which is a standardized form of synephrine, so you know precisely how much of the synephrine that you're getting per dose. And there's no other form that's standardized in the same way. So the Advantage Z that I use in Shred Gym is far superior to other forms of synephrine. And then this research was done on the Advantage Z form, showing that it did in fact release more fat from fat cells. So that's the whole point of Shred Gym, is releasing more fat, increasing your metabolic rate so that you're burning up that fat, which is going to help encourage fat loss. It's not about, like I, go on and say, people say, oh, well, you're coming down on all these companies. I'm not coming down, I'm just teaching you guys the tricks that they use, because I don't think it's right the way that people sell supplements to consumers. And one of the tricks, the ingredients that make people think that it's working. Oh, I can feel it, That's one of the oldest tricks out there, is to put ingredients in the product that make you feel something is going on, and then the consumer goes, oh, I can feel it, it must be working. Well, you can't feel fat burning. Fat burning just happens. So Shred Gym has ingredients that are stimulants, because stimulants, certain ones, like ones that have been studied, like caffeine and synephrine to some degree, could be considered a stimulant. These actually enhance fat burning. That's why they're in there. It's not there to hype you up and make your heart jump out of your chest and you can feel it work. And that's not the point of Shred Gym. It's designed to help you burn fat loss, minimize the jitteriness that some stimulants can cause. So if you wanted to use more, you certainly could safely and effectively. Here's one from, I hope I'm going to say this right, Dejan Razik, or is it Dejan? I don't know if the J is sort of silent. But he says, hey, Jim, when will JYM supplements be available in Europe? And he's from Bosnia. I've actually reformulated almost every JYM product, including pre-JYM. Post-JYM didn't need to be reformulated. Pro-JYM didn't need to be reformulated, but it needs to be sort of repackaged. And that already happened. I've reformulated VitaGym because the EU has certain regulations on certain micronutrients, so I had to change the dosing and lower them a bit. ZMA Gym will be the same, just slightly different packaging. Shred Gym had to change. The synephrine wasn't allowed by the EU. So different regulations cause some of the products that I have to need to be reformulated to be sold within the country. So, but what had happened is, so I have these products. Pre-JYM has been reformulated. Pro Gym has already been, I sold some already, but it went too fast in stock. And then I'll explain what happened on the sort of the backup inventory on Pro Gym. Shred Gym has been reformulated. Post Gym doesn't have to be formulated, just sort of repackaged. Vita Gym had to be reformulated. ZMA is fine, and Alpha Gym needs to be reformulated. I haven't reformulated Alpha Gym yet, for the simple fact that I really like the formula is so perfect, and the ingredients. It's very difficult to formulate a test booster, an effective one at least for EU regulation. So I have not reformulated Alpha Gym as of yet, but the other ones I have. They've all been reformulated. What happened is that bodybuilding.com, remember I have an exclusive partnership with bodybuilding.com to sell through them. How long that'll last, I can't really talk about it at this stage. It won't be exclusive to bodybuilding.com moving forward. But there's a contract still in place. So for the meantime, I have to sell through bodybuilding.com, except for some small nutrition will be covering India and Asia. Small distributors of the sell to bodybuilding.com, since they sell in Europe and in the UK. So what happened is that they have a main warehouse in Europe. However, they've opened a new warehouse in the UK, which will now be their main hub. So what happened was getting them product to send to the European warehouse. They had the UK warehouse ready to go to sort of be their main hub for not only the UK, but also for Europe. So if you live in Germany, Bosnia, order from bodybuilding.com, shipping the same EU regulation. So then sort of, okayed through EU regulations. But like I said, these products were supposed to be available to you already, but since bodybuilding.com was in the process of changing their main warehouse from the European one to the UK one, instead of shipping all the products that I had to the European warehouse, they held them up to ship them to the UK. So I don't even have the answer on that. I have to, I'm waiting for some more feedback from bodybuilding.com. It's supposed to be very soon that those products will arrive in the UK warehouse, and then they'll be available for purchase to the UK and Europe. So as soon as I have some real answers from bodybuilding.com on what those dates will be, I definitely will let you guys know on my social media outlets. Like I said, I don't even know because I'm not involved in, in that side on the bodybuilding.com side. They simply, I don't sell it to you, they sell it to you. So once they have the product, it's sort of in their hands as far as, the pricing goes and where it's, which warehouse it is and, where it goes. Even here in the US, people have asked me, well, why is this one on back order? And I don't even have answers as to when it will be available, because once it gets to bodybuilding.com, they have different warehouses around the US that it has to get to. So I'm not in charge of that. So, you know, I have to wait to hear from bodybuilding.com. When it's in all warehouses, then that product goes live. So there's a lot you guys don't really understand about how the distribution works. And there's also a lot that I'm not allowed to say due to, you know, the contract that I have with bodybuilding.com, obviously because it's their business. So I'm trying to tell you what I can without telling you too much information. But as far as the European market goes, those products are ready to go. It's just when the UK warehouse is really up and ready to start getting those products out. So it should be very, very soon, especially the Pro Gym, because that was already in the separate bags and ready to go. So that should be the very first product that you'll have available. And like I said, once I get confirmation from my time, I will let you guys know when that's available. So, and I appreciate your patience. I know I want you guys to have as much as you guys want it. So, you know, but it's not in my hands at this stage in the game. Here's one from Ibrahim Salami. I want to say hi to you because we talk a lot on Twitter as well. He says there's a lot of experts that claim that bananas are fast digesting carbs. Can you give me a list of fruits that are high glycemic index? Banana is not really a fast. It's on the moderate side, the low to moderate side. So it depends on what you're calling a high glycemic carb. Mainly things like melons, honeydew, and cantaloupe are high glycemic index fruits. They tend to be a bit faster digesting, higher glycemic than most fruits. Like I was telling you, most fruits are about 50-50. Fructose and glucose and have a lower glycemic index. Melons tend to be a little bit higher. And it's not like, you know, like dextrose high. It's more on the moderate to high side. Also dates. So, you know, a pretty simple way to look at it is melons and dates, and, you know, you're pretty clear. But I wouldn't really worry too much about glycemic. And if you're looking to have fruit post-workout because you want a high glycemic, you know, I do preach a bit about getting in those high glycemic carbs post-workout to really maximize recovery. You definitely can feel a difference. But at the end of the day, if it's fruit you only have, and you have an apple, oranges, whatnot, bananas, that's fine. Consume that post-workout. That's fine. At least you're getting carbs. You know, and like I said, most fruits are about 50-50 glucose. So you're getting some glucose in there. The fructose is, like I said, low glycemic, has to go to the liver, but you're getting some glucose. So ideally, you know, a fast digesting, high glycemic carb post-workout, dextrose is good. I'll go on to say that, you know, a lot of people ask me about waxy maize. Most waxy mazes are actually slow digesting. The really only true waxy maize that's fast digesting, high glycemic carb is Vitargo. That's really the only one that's been proven with enough data to show that it's fast digesting. Real research, real data to prove it's that. Is it more beneficial than dextrose or even melted? Not really. I mean, for the price difference, it's minor benefits, very, very minor, very minor. I mean, once you're fast, you know how much fast you need to get. And it doesn't really mix that well or taste that great, which is why I like dextrose, because it's very sweet. It's a good treat to have. But like I said, ideally, that's what you want to go for. You have fruit, or you just like fruit, have the fruit. Don't kill yourself about what the glycemic index is and the carbs you're consuming post-workout. At least get some carbs in there. Like I said, fruit is never bad. choice simply because it's 50-50, even though it's 50% fructose, you're getting 50% glucose. So, like I said, ideally, yes, fast, high glycemic carb would be best, but don't kill yourself to do that. Fruit would be fine. Here's an interesting question from Kitsune Suki. Thanks for everything you put together online. It's highly educational. I've been wondering what people talk about balance in opposing muscle groups. Is there any data on what the correct balance is? For example, is there a ratio between the max lift of chest and back that is considered ideal? Actually, ideally, you should be able to row what you can bench. That's sort of the ideal balance on those two opposing muscle groups. Ideally, that's sort of the ideal ratio. It's a 1-to-1 for back to chest. You should be somewhere right close to whatever you're bench pressing should be what you're able to row. Whether that's a 1RM or whether it's a 10RM, what have you. You should be using about the same weight. As far as balance of muscle size, Joe Weider was one of the first to sort of put the aesthetics map together, if you will. And I really can't recall the ideal, all the numbers, like the neck was supposed to be. But one of the things I do remember is that our upper arms and calves were supposed to be the same circumference relaxed. So, your calves and arms should be about the same size, which is funny because, if you've seen, some people will actually post on my photos that, oh, do you train, why are your calves so small? And yeah, I've got horrible genetics for calves, but my calves are 17 inches relaxed, and my upper arms are 17 inches relaxed. So they're actually not, based on Joe Weider's standard back in the day of early lifters, long before, serious drugs became standard for bodybuilding. I actually fit the mold for what calf size to arm size should be. And then, I can't remember what like I said, neck size. I think it may be the neck as well should be same size as arms and calves. And I think I'm close there as well, maybe a little bigger. The neck to my relaxed arm size. And I can't remember what the thighs and whatnot. But as far as strength balances on rows, and so pushing and pulling should be very close to a 1-to-1 ratio. You should be able to be similar in both. And there's actually research on that I've actually covered back in my muscle fitness days when I was doing a section called The Edge, which is where I brought all the science and sort of put it into simple terms and what that means for what to do in the gym, what your diet and your supplements. So I hope that helps. But a really interesting question. Here's one from Evan DeCock. I'm up at 4:30 to start my workouts by 4:45. What should I be eating, and when should I be eating it for a routine like this? Well, I've mentioned this in my other Google Hangouts as well, but if you look at my diets that I post, my Dieting 101 or my rules for muscle building, these are articles, but also they have diets built into them. And they show you based on when you train. If you train first thing in the morning, what do you do? And you can even go to my JYMSupplementscience.com page and look for my articles on how to take the gym supplements, because I have diets built in there based on when you work out. So you can see actual diet plans based on if you work out in the morning, if you work out at lunch, you work out before dinner, after work or school, and then if you work out after dinner at night. So, but for a morning, what I would usually recommend is waking up, having your pre-gym, if that's what you take, and I would definitely highly recommend for best results, to use along with pro-gym, your protein powder, piece of fruit, and then you're good. Hit the gym. After the gym, another pro-gym and post-gym, along with either the dextrose or other carbs post-workout, and then anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour later, have your whole food breakfast, something like eggs, piece of fruit, or whole wheat toast, whole grain pancakes, Kodiak cakes that I mentioned earlier. So that's basically what your morning should look like, and then it just follows from there. So like I said, check out my Dieting 101 or my rules for muscle building on actual diets that will show you what to do based on your time of day for your training. Here's one from Brandon Bergerson. Random question, what are your thoughts on napping after workout? Pros, cons. About to rest my eyes a bit after my workout. I was curious. As long as you're getting in your proper nutrition, your post-workout nutrition, a nap is fine. I don't see any true pros or cons. If you're tired and you have time to take a nap, then definitely enjoy the nap. I know I cannot afford a nap in my day based on my schedule and my kids' schedule. So enjoy it for me and the rest of us with kids, family. Here's a question from Chad Ashton. Can you explain carbs? I mean, what are they when people talk about low or no carbs or high carbs? Are they referring to just starchy carbs such as rice, potatoes, pasta, or does that include fruits and veggies? Fat is easy enough and protein is pretty obvious, but I think there's some confusion, at least for me, on what constitutes a carb when trying to eat lower carb diets. It's all that you mentioned, except for most vegetables, Chad. Fruit is definitely a carb. Most fruits have, somewhere around 30 to anywhere, depending on the fruit, obviously, a servings, anywhere from 20 to 40 grams of carbs, so it's definitely a fruit. Vegetables do have carbs, but they tend to be higher in fiber, lower in the starchy carbs. So we typically don't really, well, obviously you count the carbs from vegetables, but because they're so low, like zucchini, bell pepper, onions, these are extremely low carb in total carbs, with a good portion of it being fiber and very low in starchy carbs. So it doesn't really include most vegetables, but fruits and things like grains, potatoes are included, cereals, so your oatmeal, your bread, your pasta, rice, fruits, those are what carbs are. Vegetables, no, most vegetables don't. But let me look at I do have one on my site, jymsupplement.com. I do have a food reference database where you can see the carbs from certain foods. So you can check a vegetable to see what a typical serving has for carbs, but most of them are very low. So I hope that helps clear up what carbs are for you. Question from Chris Lawson. My question is, thanks, Chris. This is customer for life, loves gym products. Definitely appreciate the support, that you're a savvy supplement consumer and that you want better products like I do and the rest of us. The question is, what benefit does broccoli have for a bodybuilder, and should it be incorporated in a bulking or cutting? And thanks for your time. Well, broccoli has a number of health benefits. And like I was saying to Chad, it's a low-carb vegetable. It's from the brassica family, similar to kale, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, and what this family of vegetables provide is a natural plant chemical that has numerous benefits, mainly being a cancer fighter. And I won't bore you with the chemistry here, but basically there's a component in there that when you chew it, it gets activated and gets that chemical turns into its active form that has been found to help provide health benefits such as fighting cancer, helping to prevent cancer. Broccoli also contains another plant chemical. I won't bore you with the name. It's JYM, capital D-I-M, abbreviated. In the same product that I have, it's the same ingredient that I have in Alphagen. That actually, it's a little complex. People think it just blocks estrogen, but it's not an estrogen blocker. What it does is it helps keep the body from converting estrogen into a bad form of estrogen. So it keeps the good form of estrogen. And it's been found even for men to help prevent prostate cancer as well. So basically, two natural plant chemicals in broccoli that can help fight different cancers. And then it's also a low carb vegetable that works great in your diet, especially if you're low carb and a low carb diet. So when should it be in your diet? It should be in there year round. I mean, but I wouldn't just focus on broccoli all the time. You know, the old school bodybuilding diet was chicken and broccoli and sweet potatoes. And that would be like the meal that they had morning, noon, and night. The worst thing you can do is have a diet that just repeats like that, because while you're getting good nutrients from the chicken, nutrients and micronutrients from chicken and broccoli and the sweet potatoes, you're only getting the ones that are in those foods. You guys have heard, I don't want to sound cliche, but the rainbow diet, where you're eating a variety of fruits and vegetables, different colors, because they all have different antioxidants and different plant chemicals naturally occurring in them that provide different benefits. So yes, you want to incorporate broccoli into your diet, regardless of whether you're trying to gain mass or trying to get lean. But you shouldn't stick to just broccoli. Definitely include other vegetables at least. Trying to get a variety of red vegetables like red bell peppers. Said green, dark blues, and purples as well. So, and not just colors. It's not like zucchini's green and so is broccoli, so they provide the same. But no, those are two different vegetables that can provide two different types of more than two, really, a variety of different benefits. So it's really about a variety of vegetables in your diet. Try to have as much variety, at least from your vegetable sources throughout the day, as possible for the best health benefits. And those aren't just strictly health benefits. That can also help with your results benefits and your muscle gain benefits, because when you have those micronutrients, those can help your body run more efficiently, and that can help you get better results. So definitely include broccoli in your diet, regardless of whether you're bulking, whether you're cutting, but vegetables in general. For those of you who don't like vegetables, and say, you know, I just can't stand vegetables, try different spices. Don't just eat plain vegetables. Make sure you're using ample salt and pepper at the very least on your vegetables. Make a world of difference. At the very, and if you have to, you know, get some salad dressing. You know, even if, you know, if you don't like plain olive oil and vinegar, whether it's red wine vinegar or balsamic vinegar, there's nothing wrong with getting a ranch, and I mean a full fat ranch dressing. The fat's actually going to help the body absorb the micronutrients from those vegetables. So if you want to dip your broccoli in some ranch, that's fine. Just make sure it fits in your macronutrients for the day. But try, you know, different spices. Like I said, whether salt and pepper, garlic powder, Italian seasonings, chili powder, whatever it is, or like I said, a ranch dressing or blue cheese dressing. Just make sure it fits your macros for the day. But try to get your vegetables. You can try different, you know, cooking methods, like stir frying them. Stir frying them in, like I said, Irish butter. It's a good source of, and yes, it has saturated fat, but saturated fat can help, especially males with testosterone levels, but also higher in omega-3 fats and CLA. Saute your vegetables in some of that Irish butter, some salt and pepper, maybe some garlic powder, even fresh garlic, and it makes a world of difference in the taste of those vegetables. So do your best to get your vegetables. Like I said, you can try different methods of spicing them, of flavoring them, and of cooking them. But don't be afraid of salt. Watch my podcast or video, listen to my podcast, watch my videocast on sodium and the myth about sodium. As those of us who train need ample amounts of sodium, do not be afraid to put sodium on your vegetables. Unless you're trying to drop your sodium immediately before the last week before a photo shoot or a competition, you should be getting ample sodium. It makes your food taste so much better. So, so I went off on my little tangent there as always, but bottom line is yes, broccoli is good always in your diet, but also make sure to be using other vegetables. Another question from Brandon Bergerson, just because I want to make sure you guys hear this one. When will JYMStoppani.com app have the ability to actually log workouts or print log sheets? Literally like any day now. My IT guys, we redid the app, and we're constantly rebuilding the app. One of my movements for 2015 and beyond, obviously this is a very slow process, is the technology side of fitness. I mean, let's face it, that's where fitness is headed. I want you guys to be able to have the technology that allows it to be easier for you to train, get my workouts, use my workouts, and log them. So, you know, this is what I'm challenging my IT team with, is to, you know, we're building these, you know, new ways to log and keep track of workouts and your progress on all your lifts. But we had to get it, you know, we have to get it. It was just accepted by iTunes for the iPhone. And now, you know, it took some time to work out a few bugs, make sure it's perfect. I don't want to put something out that it seems to work well before we tested it. So it's a very slow process, but literally, I know I've been saying this, it should be any day now, but we're literally at that point where the new app should be launching. Could be as early as next week once we finalize a few things. So look for that very soon. It's very nice system that allows you to log your weights and your reps and to track them through all my programs so you can see, well, when I was doing shirk at the size, I was bench pressing this for my 12 to 15 rep range. Now that I'm in down in a mass or back and forth, here's when I'm benching, and allow you to compare those and see how you're doing. But that's just the beginning. That's literally just the beginning. That is going to continue to evolve so that you guys can track your progress, and like I said, and follow my workouts much easier. So I'll always be pushing the envelope there and evolving that app as we go. I mean, that's really one of my passions, is to really make it easier, because I use my own app, and you know, I have so many workouts that I go back to shirk at the size all the time. I was just ran through a cycle of shirk at the size not too long ago. Now I'm using my Giant Set program, which, by the way, I'll mention in these last few minutes, is a new program that I have coming out on JYMSupplement.com. A lot of these, I've got a laundry list of programs that I haven't even released yet that I just need to put into my system on the website. That's really what it comes down to. And I only have so many hours within the day with all the different things that I'm working on. So, but what I'm working on right now is my Giant Set program, which is, a program that I designed several years ago, working with different clients and athletes. And, I continue to evolve these things. But when I'm doing them, I can't even remember the exact, what exercise comes after this one, because, I have so many programs in my head that I use I take my own app when I train. So I want to be able to record and compare and remember my workouts. So I want this as much as you. I mean, it's similar to my JYM Supplement Science line. I wanted these supplements because there's nothing out there like it. I want this as much as you. So you guys can know that I'm working on this, because not only I want free, I selfishly want this for myself. So you can bet I'm really pushing to get this all finalized and get it out there and make that app far better than it is, and continue to build it and evolve it, the app and the website to go. Like I said, I want, I don't know if those of you heard me talk about this before, I want to be able to take that app, bring your phone with you to the gym, and it monitors your squat form. So oh, okay, here's what Jim Stoppani's app's telling me. I'm coming up on my heels, or I'm leaning way too far, and I'm not sitting back far enough when I do my squat. But when I'm doing my dead, I'm not, sitting back far enough. I'm not keeping the bar close enough. When I'm bench, my arms are. That's what the vision that I have for the app, and I'm not going to rest until we get there. Same thing for nutrition. I want to be able to take your iPhone, you're sitting down for a meal, take a picture of the meal, and bang, it estimates, obviously within reason, how many grams of protein, how many grams of carbs and fat and calories are in that meal that you had, and then it puts it right into your diet log, and there's your macros for the day. None of this, I got to look up how much chicken breast is, how many grams, and that's what I want. I want it for myself, and I want you guys to be able to have it, because I want the lifestyle, this is really a lifestyle that we live, to be easy for everyone to follow and use, because that makes it easier to stick with it and get many, much like the iPhone, many phases of the app as it continues to evolve and get better and better, because I really want to push that, like I said, for all of us to have. So anyway, guys, it's 5 p.m. here. I'm going to go get finish my last bit of pre-gym, get to the gym over here, and then hit dinner. So I hope you guys have a great weekend. I appreciate everyone for joining in. I hope it was helpful. And you can let anyone know that if they missed it, that they can find it on YouTube and watch the session and hopefully learn something new. So from Maui, this is Jim Stoppani signing out. Thank you guys in the Gym Army for your continued support. I will see you hopefully, actually next week I'm going to be in Germany for FIBA. I'll see with the time difference. I won't make any promises now. You know, I have a schedule. I'll be at the bodybuilding.com booth and I have a few meetings, but I'm going to try to do this on Friday from Germany as well. So I should see you. You know, check me on my social media channels for the time on that. Like I said, hopefully it'll be next Friday, but I'll confirm that later in the week. So again, thanks guys. Hope you have a great weekend. I know I will here in Maui, and continue talking to you guys on Twitter, on Facebook, Instagram, and now Snapchat. So take care, guys. Signing off.